Welcome to my today's video of advanced probability and statistics. So in our today's video, we'll be discussing the unit 1, that is random variable and the different probability distributions. So firstly, what is probability and randomness? Probability एक बहुत ही familiar term है अभी, because we know it tells us about the measure of an event occurring or not. For example, लाइक कोई कॉइन हमने फ्लिप किया तो अब या उसको हेड्स ऊपर रहेगा या फिर टेल्स। सो द आउटकम, द हेड्स और द टेल्स को हम प्रोबेबिलिटी के टर्म्स में या स्टैटिस्टिकल टर्म्स में आउटकम कहते हैं, एंड द collection of all possible outcomes, that is head or tail, is called the sample space denoted by capital S. And an event is a subset of S, that is a particular outcome of or a group of outcomes we care about. जैसे व्हाट इज द प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट अ हेड्स विल अकर, सो हेड क्या हो गया, अब इवेंट हो गया। ओके, सो दैट्स द बेसिक नोशन ऑफ प्रोबेबिलिटी। नाउ रैंडम वेरिएबल क्या है? रैंडम वेरिएबल बेसिकली, रैंडम मतलब क्या? रैंडम मतलब इट कैन बी एनीथिंग, एंड वेरिएबल इज अ लाइक पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू वी डेजिग्नेट टू अ सर्टेन expression, right? Example a to z कोई भी alphabet आप ले लो. For example, if I denote a as a random variable to the what are the outcomes of a dice? 1 2 3 4 5 6. So a can be any of the six numbers. Okay, so such a element which represents the different outcomes numerically of any event occurring is known as a random variable. So up there are two types of random variables: discrete and continuous. Now, discrete random variables take on continuous or countable values. Example 0, 1, 2, like number of heads in three coin tosses. तो उसमें we can calculate कि three coin tosses की वो क्या थी, like sample space. Example head tail head tail tail. Then like that we can calculate all the 2 to the power 3, that is 8 outcomes. And continuous random variables क्या है? This can take any value within a range. Example 0 to 10 centimeter, 10 to 20 centimeter, 20 to 30 centimeter. हम स्कूल लाइफ में हमने काफी बार ग्राफ्स ड्रॉ किए हैं जिनमें लाइक ऐसे रेंज ऑफ वैल्यूज दिए रहते थे. So those were continuous random variables. Now what is the probability value range between? Probability values range between 0 to 1, where 0 means impossible, 1 means certain. For example, what is the probability of the letter x to appear in the word probability? It is 0 because x probability में है ही नहीं. What is the probability of the letter P lying in the word probability? So the number of occurrences of P divided by the total length of the word P. So just say, imagine it can be like 1 by 10 or 1 by 11. And what is the probability of the entire word probability lying in the word itself? वो होगा 1, because the word of course contains the letters P, R, O, B, A, I, L, T, Y. Okay. So it is a certain event. So probability is 1. Now, a car rental company tracks the number of hours a car is rented per day. The rental time in hours is distributed between 2 and 8 hours. So इसका lower limit 2 है and upper limit 8 है. What is the probability that a car is rented for more than 5 hours on a given day? मतलब 6, 7, 8 तीनों में से कोई एक. And what is the probability that a car is rented for less than 3 hours on a given day? ओके, सो अब ये यूनिफॉर्म डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है लाइंग बिटवीन 2 to 8. सो पीडीएफ हम कैसे निकालते हैं? पीडीएफ ऑफ अ कंटिन्यूअस यूनिफॉर्म डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इज एफ एक्स इक्वल टू 1 by b minus a. So 1 by 8 minus 2, that is 1 by 6. And probability that a car is rented for more than 5 hours, x of greater than 5 is integration of 5 to higher limit, that is 8, fx dx. अब fx क्या निकला? 1 by 6 of dx, so we can find it to be 0.5. and car is less than 3 hours, तो अब 3 higher limit है और less than में lower limit क्या हो जाएगा? lower limit of the entire question, that is 2. So overall probability is integration of 2 to 3 fx dx, where fx is 1 by 6. So p of x less than 3 equal to 1 by 6 or 0.1667. अब हमारे पास तीन बेसिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस हैं जो कि हमारे अगले टॉपिक्स या यूनिट्स की भी फाउंडेशन ले करते हैं. सो रिमेंबरिंग द डेफिनेशंस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड वन ऑफ दीज डेफिनेशंस CDF was also asked in MST1, so it is advisable to be thorough with the definitions. PMF, probability mass distribution, is used for discrete random variables like flipping a coin or rolling a die. It gives the probability of each possible outcome. एग्जाम्पल, नंबर ऑफ हेड्स इन टू कॉइन टॉसेस. सो अगर हम एक कॉइन को दो बार टॉस करें, व्हाट इज द सैंपल स्पेस? एच एच, एच टी एच और टी. दैट इज वेयर एच shows the number of heads and t shows the number of tails. So p of x equal to 0, जब t और t है तब एक भी हेड नहीं है. So x equal to 0, thus the probability कितना है? 1/4, because there's just one such case, that is tail and tail. पी एक्स इक्वल टू वन. अब हेड टेल और टेल हेड, इन दोनों केसेस में एक हेड है, सो विल गिव इट 2/4 और 1/2. एंड पी एक्स इक्वल टू हेड हेड में दोनों ही हेड है, सो इट इज 1/4. नाउ व्हाट आर द की पॉइंट्स? The PMF is always greater than equal to 0, that is it is never negative. So अगर आपका PMF किसी सम में नेगेटिव आया, समझ जाना आपका सम गलत हुआ है. And sum of all probabilities is 1, that is summation of px equal to x equal to 1. So इन तीनों की भी हम summation करें तो 1/4 plus 1/2 plus 1/4 equals to 1. PDF क्या है? PDF is used for continuous random variables like height और time. अब इधर एक चीज देख लो शॉर्टकट. PDF में लेटर D है, PDF. अब D फॉर डिस्क्रीट भी था, तो याद रखना कि PDF और डिस्क्रीट कभी साथ नहीं आएंगे. दैट इज वाई डिस्क्रीट डिनोट्स PMF and PDF denotes continuous. So PDF is used for continuous random variables like height or time, and it gives a density, not a direct probability. अब कंटिन्यूस रैंडम वेरिएबल्स तो होती ही वैसे है ना, कि जैसे इमेजिन आफ्टर योर एग्जाम अ फ्रेंड और योर पेरेंट्स आस्क यू कि आपका एग्जाम कैसा गया, व्हाट डू यू थिंक, हाउ मच विल यू स्कोर. You don't, you're not sure how much you'll actually score, so what you do instead कि मतलब उन्हें एक पर्टिकुलर स्कोर बताने के बजाय you tell them a entire like interval of scores कि I might score between 70 to 90 out of 100. So that is a continuous, distribution. And to find the probability of an interval, मैंने formula दे रखा है, that is p of a less than equal to x less than equal to b, or integration from a to b of fx dx. So for example, f of x equal to 1/4 for x in 0 to 4, that is uniform distribution from 0 to 4. और CDF क्या है? क्यूमुलेटिव डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन फंक्शन. CDF को बहुत बच्चे कंफ्यूज करते हैं विद क्यूमुलेटिव डेंसिटी फंक्शन. इट इज रॉन्ग. PDF is probability density function, okay, and CDF is not cumulative density function, it is cumulative distribution function, or it applies to both discrete and random variables. It gives the probability that x is less than or equal to a value small x, or CDF का symbol is capital F of x. For continuous variables, it is fx equal to integration from minus infinity to x of ft dt. Key point, CDF always increases from 0 to 1 as x increases. So for your convenience, I've attached, distribution table of the common PDFs which are going to be used from now onwards. So please, have a proper knowledge of these. कि कौन से distribution की PDF क्या है, its range and the parameters. Up next, we have joint and marginal distribution. So joint distribution क्या है? It tells us the probability of two variables happening together. Okay. Marginal distribution क्या है? It gives us the probability of just one variable regardless of the other. अब इसको आप imagine कर लो कि x is the marks you've obtained in maths and y is the scores or marks you obtained in science. अब आपको मैथ्स में भी 0 मिला और साइंस में भी 0 मिला, इसका प्रोबेबिलिटी इस वाले सेल पे रिप्रेजेंटेड होगा. साइंस में 0, मैथ्स में 1 will be denoted here. साइंस में 0, मैथ्स में 2 will be denoted here. Imagine there are 9 students. अब 9 में से किसी को दोनों में 0 मिला, किसी को एक में 1 मिला, एक में 2 मिला. तो उस तरह 9 बच्चों के मार्क्स हमने ऐसे रिप्रेजेंट किए. तो दिस इज कॉल्ड जॉइंट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, जो हम एक 2D एरे की तरह एक टेबल से डिनोट करते हैं. एंड व्हाट इज मार्जिनल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन? व्हाट इफ हमें देखना है कि कितने बच्चों को साइंस में बस 0 मिला. अब साइंस में 0 मिलने वाले बच्चों के लिए हम मैथ्स को इग्नोर करेंगे. ओके, मैथ्स हमें फर्क नहीं पड़ता. सो साइंस इक्वल टू 0 मतलब y इक्वल टू 0. ये ढूंढने के लिए हम इन तीनों को सम करेंगे. इमेजिन दिस इज 1/3, दिस इज 1/3, दिस इज 1/3. So what will we get? We'll get 1. Okay. So for getting a particular or x equal to 1, कि maths में कितने बच्चों को 1 out of 2 मिला? For that we have to take a sum of these three. Okay. So formula for discrete variables is px equal to small x equal to summation over y. P of x equal to small x and y equal to small y. So अगर y का आपको marginal distribution निकालना है तो you have to take sum or integration over x. एंड अगर x का निकालना हो देन यू हैव टू सम ओवर y. सो ऊपर एक एग्जांपल दिया है व्हिच यू कैन रीड कि टोटल प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट अ स्टूडेंट कंप्लीटेड वन असाइनमेंट. तो उसके लिए हम क्या करेंगे, हम x इक्वल टू 1 निकालने के लिए x इक्वल टू 1 के साथ y की जितनी वैल्यूज एसोसिएटेड है सबकी जॉइंट प्रोबेबिलिटीज की सम निकालेंगे. Third topic here is independence. अब independence is quite an important topic because इसकी proofs भी आ सकती है 2 या 5 marks में, और who knows luck अच्छा हो तो 10 marks में भी. Independence क्या होता है? Two variables x and y are said to be independent if knowing one does not affect the probability of the other. Example, x equal to whether it's rain today or y equal to outcome of rolling a die. तो बारिश और एक डाइस को रोल करने में कोई देयर इज नो रिलेशन एट ऑल. सो अगर y का आउटकम 4 हुआ और इमेजिन प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ रेन इज 1 आल्सो, so p of 1 into 4 is 4. So this is the entire notion of independence ki if x and y are independent then p of x comma y equal to p of x into p of y. So if I say you ki x and y are independent random variables where px equal to 1 by 2 and py equal to 1 by 3. So find p of x comma y. So we can simply multiply 1 by 2 and 1 by 3. So we'll get 1 by 6, which is the required joint probability of x and y. So visual representation of joint and marginal distribution. So basically इधर हमने एक we have taken a graph representing different values of x and y, and here are the different shades showing the associated probabilities. Taking the sum, we get the marginal distributions over both the x and y axis. Okay, so this is all about the three terms. So please remember joint, marginal, and independent probabilities. So we have a practice sheet problem solved here. Ki if x and y are independent, calculate p of x equal to 2 comma y equal to 3, where we have p of x equal to 2 is 0.4 and p of y equal to 3 is 0.5. So since they're independent, so we simply multiply the individual probabilities, which comes out to be 0.20 or zero point 0.2. So you can try out few more problems which I was assigned here. If x and y are independent, what is the value of px equal to x and y equal to y? It is simply p of x equal to x into p of y equal to small y. So that way you can just solve these sums. Now in a drive folder I have attached in the description of this video, you'll also get a solution to all these questions which I have assigned for practice. So you can simply go through them. Now we jump on to the next topic, that is conditional probability and Bayes rule. What is conditional probability? Conditional probability tells us how likely it is, like something is given that we already know that something else has happened. It updates our expectations based on new information. So by definition, P of A by B, okay, we call this symbol as by or odd. So P of A by B equals to PA intersection B by P of B. This means chance of A happening given that B has happened is equal to chance of A and B both happening, that is A intersection B, divided by chance of B happening. Example, A is it rains today and B is we see dark clouds. So we don't just ask ki, what is the chance of rain. We ask what is the chance of rain, that is A, given that there are dark clouds. So given that ke baad comes B. So here what we see, we'll see the probability of rain and dark clouds divided by probability of dark clouds. In discrete form, we have this formula, that is P of x equal to x, y equal to the joint PDF of them both divided by probability of just y. So this tells us that the chance of x is x, knowing that y is y, the joint probability of both happening divided by the probability that y is small y. So what is Bayes' theorem? In Bayes' theorem, we simply reverse the view. P of A by B equals to P of B by A into P A into divided by P of B. सो आप लोग ये देखो बचपन में लाइक मैं ऐसे याद रखता था इन क्लास 10 और 12 दैट if this is a fraction जहां हम b divided by a लिख रहा है into a, so in a fraction like 2 by 3 into 3, what do we cancel 3 and 3, right? इसमें भी आप मेंटली आपको वही करना है कि p of b by a into a में a और a कैंसिल, बाकी क्या रहा p of b. अब p of b divided by b भी 1 ही है, so that way you can mentally cancel out the values to formulate the equation. So this Bayes theorem helps us when it's hard to find P of A by B directly, but we know the P of B by A along with the basic probabilities of A and B. So अगर आपको question में P of B, A और B by A दोनों तीनों दिए हैं, but you don't have any clue about P of A intersection B, so you can find out using this. And also, equating this equation, that is this one, with this one, we can find P of B by A into probability of A is equal to probability of A intersection B. Okay. Now practice sheet problem. Find the conditional probability of P of y by 2 by x equal to 1 given that P of x equal to 1 and y equal to 2 equals to 0.1 and P of x equal to 1 equals to 0.3. So as I told you earlier, जो second term रहेगा हमें उसकी probability नीचे divide करनी है. So substituting the given values, we get 0.1 by 0.3, that is 0.33. So here we have more problems to try, which you guys can try out yourself. So find the conditional distribution, conditional probability. So four sums are given. Kindly try them out. So it will clarify your idea. Next part is expectation variance and covariance. So let me tell you, expectation and variance are basic building concepts of your next unit, that is unit 2. So here we'll study just the, foundation of these concepts. So these concepts are key in understanding how random variables behave. They help us describe the center, spread, and relationship between variables. Expectation or mean. The expectation or expected value of a random variable is its average outcome over many trials. ओके, सो हम अगर एक डाइस को 3 बार रोल करते हैं तो उस तीनों ट्रायल्स का एवरेज विल बी रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय द एक्सपेक्टेशन और मीन. फॉर एग्जांपल, you are giving a maths test twice. फर्स्ट टेस्ट में आपका है 18 आउट ऑफ 20, सेकेंड टेस्ट में आपका है 20 आउट ऑफ 20. So what will be the mean? Mean will be 18 plus 20 by 2, that is 19. So 19 is the expected value of your maths marks, or it is the discrete random variable में भी हम वैसे ही करते हैं. That is expectation of discrete random variable में we sum up the x into px, and for continuous variable we integrate x into fx. Okay, so it's the same idea but we use integration instead of summation. So ये दो formula बहुत ही basic है, you have to remember this. So if you roll this fair six-sided die, then the expected value is e of x equal to summation of 1 to 6 divided by 6, that is 3.5. But ये ना एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू का ये मतलब नहीं कि आपको डाइस में 3.5 दिखेगा, दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल, बट इट इज द एवरेज रिजल्ट ओवर मेनी रोल्स. कि आप अगर जितनी भी बार खेलो like that is how many times you roll the dice, the average is expected to be 3.5. What is the variance? Variance measures how far the values of a random variable are from its mean. It shows the spread of data. Okay. जैसे मैथ्स वाली एग्जाम ही ले लो, आपको पहले एग्जाम में 18 आउट ऑफ 20 मिला, सेकंड में 20 आउट ऑफ 20। अब थर्ड एग्जाम में आपको 16 आउट ऑफ 20 मिला एंड फोर्थ में 14 आउट ऑफ 20। ओके, 18, 20, 16, 14। अब इन चारों की मीन होगी 15 एंड वी कैन प्लॉट वेरिएंस, we can plot a graph to show the variance of data from 15. So basically here we can just sorry, 17, 17 will be the mean, I'm sorry। 14 से 17 तक there's a difference of -3, 16 to 17 -1, then 18 to 17 is +1 and 20 to 17 is 3. So that way we can find the variance as well. So what is the formula for variance? Variance of x equals to expectation of x square minus expectation of x whole square। Now expectation of x square क्या है? x square को आप y ले लो, देन क्या होगा? E of y equal to summation of y into p of y। So expectation of x squared is summation of y, मतलब summation या integration of x square। Okay, so इधर E of जो भी bracket में हो, you have to summate or integrate that particular question or function। So E of x square मतलब भी वही है, that is integration if it is a continuous or summation if it is a discrete of x squared into px or fx माइनस ई ऑफ एक्स होल स्क्वायर। तो ई ऑफ एक्स आपको पहले ही निकालना पड़ेगा। सो व्हाट इज द बेसिक नोशन? हायर वेरिएंस इक्वल टू मोर स्प्रेड आउट वैल्यूज। इफ वेरिएंस इज जीरो दैट ऑल वैल्यूज आर द सेम। अगर आपको चारों मैथ्स की सरप्राइज टेस्ट में 17 आउट ऑफ 20 ही मिले, देन देयर इज जीरो वेरिएंस, कि आपको कोई वेरिएशन हो ही नहीं रहा है आपके एग्जाम में। ओके, आपको सारे एग्जाम्स में 17 आउट ऑफ 20 मिल रहा है, मतलब देयर इज नो इम्प्रूवमेंट, देयर इज नो डिप्रूवमेंट इधर। And what is covariance? Covariance tells us how two random variables change together. That is covariance of x comma y equal to e of xy minus ex into ey। So height and अब covariance अगर positive है, when x increases then y also tends to increase। If covariance is negative then when x increases y tends to decrease, and if covariance is zero then x and y are uncorrelated। So इसका मतलब क्या है? इमेजिन हाइट एंड वेट आर यूजुअली पॉजिटिवली कोरिलेटेड। जैसे आपका अगर हाइट या वेट ज्यादा हो तो अज्यूम करते हैं कि आपका दूसरा वाला फैक्टर, दैट इज इफ योर वेट इज हायर, preferably your height is also very high। But what is a negative correlation का example? That is, we can say pollution and rain. More the pollution, less is the rain level in some particular regions. So those are negatively correlated. Okay. So that is the particular notion of covariance. Up next, we have correlation. Correlation, as you can see, the formula is directly dependent on covariance. So correlation is a normalized version of covariance. It scales the result to a fixed range, that is -1 to 1, making it easier to compare। So R equals to covariance of x comma y divided by sigma x into sigma y, where sigma x and sigma y are the standard deviations of x and y। So अगर R, बट एक प्रॉपर्टी है कि R की वैल्यूज हमेशा -1 से 1 की रेंज में ही रहेगी। So if R is +1, there is a positive linear relationship which is perfect। ओके, एग्जाम्पल एक्स और वाई की अगर वैसी वैल्यूज ले कि वन एक्स इज 1 2 3 4 5, वाई इज 2 4 6 8 10, दैट इज बेसिकली एक्स इक्वल टू हाफ ऑफ वाई और वाई इक्वल टू 2x, देन देयर इज अ परफेक्ट पॉजिटिव लीनियर रिलेशनशिप। r इक्वल टू -1 मतलब परफेक्ट नेगेटिव लीनियर रिलेशनशिप, एंड r इक्वल टू 0 मतलब नो लीनियर रिलेशनशिप। So unlike covariance, correlation does not depend on units. It is dimensionless, okay? Because it is already a scaled thing. तो R की कोई unit नहीं होती। So calculate the covariance between x and y given that the means of x and y are mu x and mu y। Mu x equal to 3, mu y equal to 4, and the joint distribution is given here। उसके लिए हम क्या करेंगे, कोवेरियंस ऑफ एक्स वाई इक्वल टू ई एक्स वाई माइनस ई एक्स इंटू ई वाई. So we compute E of xy in this formula, that is summation of x into y into p of x comma y. So अगर x equal to 0 and y equal to 0 हुआ तो इंटीग्रेशन summation of 0 into 0 into 0.1, but sorry, 1 0 won't be there. 2 and 3, अगर x equal to 2 हुआ y equal to 3, that is 2 into 3 into their probability, that is 0.1. So 2 into 3 into 0.1 means 0.6. That way you have to take the entire sum, which comes out to be 11.6. Formula we take and we finally find the expressions as well. So it is minus 0.4. So final answer is पूरे distribution का final covariance is minus zero point 0.4. Now there are more problems to try which I have given. You can try them out, and if you get stuck somewhere, you can simply check out the solutions in the drive link. What is a function of random variable? So sometimes we are not interested in the individual values of random variables, but in some function of them, such as the sum, difference, or any other combined expression. For example, instead of focusing on how many heads or tails are flipped, we might care about the difference between the number of heads and tails. Sometimes क्या होता है, जैसे टेक अ सिंपल एग्जांपल. ओके, आप किसी एग्जाम के लिए जितनी भी एफर्ट्स क्यों ना डालो, लाइक महीनों भर पढ़ते रहो, हफ्ते भर पढ़ते रहो, लोगों को लोग पूछते क्या, लोग बस रिजल्ट पूछते हैं. ओके, उनको आपके एफर्ट से कोई मतलब नहीं. दे डोंट केयर अबाउट द इंडिविजुअल एलिमेंट्स. ऑल दे केयर अबाउट इज द फाइनल सम और द रिजल्ट. So what is the function of a random variable? A function of a random variable means creating a new variable based on a rule applied to existing elements or variables. Example, z equal to x plus y, z equal to x minus y, z equal to heads minus tails. इसमें क्या है? Z is also a new random variable which is composed of random variables which are pre-existing. So steps to analyze care, find the new possible values, list all the possible values that the new function x plus y can take, rebuild the distribution. For each possible value of the new function, compute its probability by summing all combinations of x and y that leads to the result. For example, if z equal to x plus y equal to 3, then find all such pairs x and y such that x plus y equal to 3 and add their joint probabilities. So agar it's in this example, we have 9 pairs, and out of which few pairs are 1 comma 2, 2 comma 2, 2 comma 1. So इसमें 1 comma 2 and 2 comma 1 are the only pairs which give the sum 3. So given the joint probability distribution x equal x 1 comma 2, 2 comma 2 and 1 comma 3, find the probability that x plus y equal to 3. We need to find all pairs x comma y such that x plus y equal to 3. So we check each given pair. So 1 plus 2 equal to 3. So x plus y 3 is satisfied. 2 plus 2 equal to 4. X plus y equal to 3 is not satisfied. 1 plus 3 is also equal to 4. So x plus y equal to 3 is not satisfied. Thus there is only one valid pair, x equal to 1, y equal to 2. So the probability of x plus y equal to 3 is simply the probability of x equal to 1 and y equal to 2, that is 0.1. So after this there are certain problems you can try. Now what? Now let's consider a case. Imagine you're trying to predict a student's final grade. If you only look at study hours, you might miss out on other key factors. Okay, sleep. How well the student slept the night before he could significantly affect their performance, and practice tests. The number of practice tests they've taken might have a big impact too. So, study hours ke alawa bhi there are certain factors which impact, the performance in exams. So instead of treating each factor in isolation, we want to understand how they work together. This is where joint distributions come in. They help you understand the relationship between multiple variables. With joint distributions, you get a clearer picture of how different factors interact and more accurate predictions because you are not oversimplifying the problem. It's not just about individual variables anymore, it's about how they combine to influence the outcome. Whether it's predicting risk, sales, or performance, understanding joint relationships helps make better informed decisions. Okay, so that's it. Now let's see this topic as well. Continuous joint distribution. When both x and y are continuous variables, the joint behavior is described using a joint probability density function, that is joint PDF, denoted by f of x comma y. So this function represents how probability is distributed over combinations of x and y, and probabilities are calculated as areas under the surface defined by the PDF. So what are the key rules? Firstly, it's non-negativity. F of xy is greater than equal to 0. That is, PDF must always be 0 or positive, and total probability always equals 1. That is, double integration over fxy dx dy equals to 1. That is, the total volume under the surface of the joint PDF must be 1, representing the entire probability space. Marginal distribution: to find the distribution of just x or just y, integrate out the other variable simply. So for x, we integrate over y, that is f of x equal to integration of f of xy dy. For y, we integrate f of xy over dx. Now, what is conditional distribution? To find the distribution of x given y equal to small y, so we give f of x by y equal to fxy divided by f of y. So conditional probability we just did some time back. So this is the same formula. Now, for the given probability function for the random variables x and y, is the probability are given in the table below. So find the marginal probability functions of x and y. Compute when x is less than, that is x lies between 1 and 3, and when y is greater than equal to 1, and determine whether x and y are independent. So let's solve this sum part by part. Firstly, marginal probability of x. So we find the different probabilities when x assumes three values, that is when x equal to 0, x equal to 1, and x equal to 2. So x equal to 0 ke bhi there are three cases. Okay. X equal to 0 ke there are three cases, that is x equal to 0 when y equal to 0, x equal to 0 when y equal to 1, and x equal to 0 when y equal to 2. So P of x equal to 0 is the sum of all the three cases, that comes out to be 1 by 3. And so does P of x equal to 1 is also equal to 1 by 3. P of x equal to 2 is also 1 by 3. And this is factually correct because if you add up the three probabilities, you will get 1 as the answer. Thus, the marginal probability function of x is px equal to 0 equal to 1 by 3, px equal to 1 equal to 1 by 3, as well as px equal to 2 is also equal to 1 by 3. What is the marginal probability of y? Similar to x, now we calculate the marginal probabilities of y equal to 0. ग्राफ में देखते हैं एक बार न टेबल y इक्वल टू 0 मतलब ये. अब इसका सम निकालने के लिए हमें क्या, y इक्वल टू 0 व्हेन x इक्वल टू 0, दैट इज दिस सेल, y इक्वल टू 0 व्हेन x इक्वल टू 1, दैट इज 1 by 9, प्लस y इक्वल टू 0 व्हेन x इक्वल टू 2, दैट इज 1 by 6. हमें तीनों का सम निकालना है. That way we have to find the marginal distributions of py equal to 1 as well as py equal to 2. Now, compute P when x lies between 1 and 3. That is that uska probability. Now, Px less like 1 less than equal to x less than equal to 2 का क्या मतलब है? मतलब P can either be 1 or 2, that is x का है. X is this. 1 less than equal to x less than equal to 3. So x can assume values 1, 2 and 3. Clearly 3 is out of range here because 0, 1 or 2 ही है. So 1 and 2 are the only options that x can take up. So we find the combined probability of these two, which is supposedly, that is x equal to 1 or x equal to 2. So 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 क्या हुआ? 2 by 3. Let's see the answer. So, okay. Also, this is where joint probability comes in. Okay, we don't simply need to find the first probability. We also need to find it when there is a given condition. What is the condition? कि y is also greater than equal to 1. Y भी 1 या 2 ही है. So we simply need to find the sum of these four elements. Okay. अब 1 by 18 plus 1 by 18 is 2 by 18, that is 1 by 9. 1 by 9 plus 1 by 9 is 2 by 9. अब 1 by 6 plus 2 by 9. So we take 18 as the LCM. So 1 by 6 becomes 3 by 18 and 2 by 9 becomes 4 by 18. So 3 plus 4, let's see if I'm doing it right. So yes, 3 by 4 is 7 by 18. Okay. And the last part, that is determine whether x and y are independent. To determine if x and y are independent, we need to check if the joint probability is equal to the product of the marginal probabilities. अब क्या है? P of x equal to 0 1 by 3, right? P of y equal to 0 be 1 by 3. P of x equal to 0 and y equal to 0 is 1 by 18. 1 by 3 into 1 by 3, if you remember, it is 1 by 9, not 1 by 18. So, what do we get? Since 1 by 9 is not equal to 1 by 18, x and y are not independent. X and y are dependent on each other. उसीलिए क्या हुआ, उनका marginal probabilities के product is not equal to the particular joint probability. Okay, hope it's clear. So there are a few more problems I've given which you can try. The joint function is given. You need to find conditional density function. Joint function is also given, ये exponential है, and find the conditional density function. Applied probability strategy and sample spaces. So this is a like basic thing of how to solve particular sums when given in question. Okay, so this, let me demonstrate with this sum. Ki two fair dice are tossed simultaneously. Let x denote the number on first die and y denote the number of second die. So write down the probability space, write down the sample space of this experiment. So x is the number on the first die, that is x can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. Y is the number on the second die. Die तो die ही है. Second die की भी 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. अब x जब 1 होगा, y can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So x 1, 2, so 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6. 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6. That way they will 36 will get values. So let's see. So see, there are 36 possible outcomes, okay? And then we also need to find the probabilities of these cases. So for this, what we do is P of x plus y equal to 8. अब हमें ऐसे pairs निकालने हैं इस ऊपर के sample space से, that is this, where the sum of two numbers is 8. So we get these 5 outcomes. So P of x plus y equal to 8 is 5 by 36. P of x plus y is not equal to 8. So we can simply subtract P of x plus y equal to 8 from 1 to get the particular probability. P of x equal to y. So there are 6 such outcomes. So it is 6 by 36 or 1 by 6. Px equal x plus y equal to 6, conditional of Py equal to 4. अब P of y equal to 4 दिया हुआ है and P of x plus y equal to 6. So the only favorable outcome is 2 by 4, and like there are 6 possible outcomes and the favorable outcome is 2 by 4. So the probability is 1 by 6. Okay. And P of x minus y equal to 2. So to find P of x minus y equal to 2, we need to find all pairs where x minus y equal to 2. So basically 3 minus 1 equal to 2, 4 minus 2 equal to 2, 5 minus 3 equal to 2, and 6 minus 4 is also equal to 2. So probability is 4 by 36 or 1 by 9. So that way we can find the probability of different cases when two dice are tossed simultaneously. Hopefully this problem is clear. Again, here I have attached 3 more problems which you can try on applied statistics. Correlation we have already studied, but still let me just revisit the topic once. Correlation is a statistical measure that expresses the strength and direction of the relationship between two variables. So suppose the speed of a car and speed choro, the distance a car is covering and the time it's taking. So both of them uh, contribute to the velocity of the car. So we calculate the correlation between the two variables. So what are the key points about correlation? Range of R. The correlation coefficient can range from -1 to +1, which we studied while analyzing covariance and correlation. R equal to 1, perfect positive linear relationship. R equal to -1, perfect negative linear relationship. And R equal to 0, no linear relationship. Interpretation. Values close to 1 or -1 indicate a strong linear relationship. That is, if R equals to something like zero point 0.8 or -0 0.9. So it is a strong linear relationship. Values close to 0 suggest a weak or no linear relationship. जैसे हम ऊपर एक सम हमने किया था जिसमें R इक्वल टू -0.4 आया था. So in those cases, it is a weak correlation, you can say. Now, what are the properties of correlation? Symmetry, scale invariance, linear only. Symmetry का मतलब क्या है? R of x comma y equal to R of y comma x. Scale invariance, changing the scale or units of either variable does not affect the value of R. And linear only. Correlation only measures linear relationships. मतलब इसमें आप quadratic या cubic functions measure नहीं कर सकते. So correlation की formula भी दी गई है. सो प्रैक्टिस शीट की एक प्रॉब्लम है कि जिसमें आपको एक पूरा सैंपल स्पेस दिया हुआ है एंड यू हैव टू डिटरमाइन इफ देयर इज एनी कोरिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द साइज ऑफ द ग्रुप एंड द डिफेक्ट इन क्वालिटी. Okay, so first we calculate the means of x and y. So x a number of items, y a number of defective items. Then we calculate the covariance, calculate the standard deviations. So finally, calculate the correlation coefficient, which comes out to be 0.34. These sums are usually a bit lengthy, so you're advised to carry proper calculators and all with you. Conclusion क्या है? The correlation coefficient are equal to 0.34. Now 0.34 किससे ज़्यादा नज़दीक है? 0 या 1? It's clearly nearer to 0. So it indicates a weak positive linear relationship between the size group and the number of defective items. Okay, so thus with this we come to the end of unit 1. So here I'll just brush once through the final formulas and concepts. Basic probability rules, addition and multiplication rule है. Conditional probability, a by b equal to a intersection b by p of b. Bayes theorem is a by b equal to b by a into probability of a whole divided by probability of b. Random variables के expectation is a summation or integration of xi into pxi. Variance is ex square minus e of x whole square. Standard deviation is root over variance of x. Covariance and correlation की formulas दी हुई है इधर. Continuous joint functions, that is joint PDF, marginal PDF, conditional PDF. So for joint PDF, it's always positive. Marginal is the sum or like integration over the other variable, and conditional PDF is over the one over the function or probability of the one जिसके basis पे condition है, that is x by y equals to f of x comma y divided by f of y. Applied probability sample space क्या है? The set of all possible outcomes of an experiment. Combinatorics, permutations and combinations, इनकी भी idea रख लेना. And probability for equally likely outcomes is favorable outcomes by total outcomes. Okay, and correlation in practice का formula is summation of xi minus x bar by into yi minus y bar whole divided by the square root over the sigma xi minus x bar whole square into sigma of yi minus y bar whole square. So with that we come to the end of unit 1, random variables and probability distributions. In our next video I'll be discussing about unit 2, that is expectation, moments and law of large numbers. So with this I'll end my today's video. Thank you all for watching. Hope it was beneficial to everyone. Thank you. Goodbye. Take care.